The Dark Side, Understanding the Western Mind, a History of Global Conflict and War. As-Salaam Alaikum, everyone. Welcome back to Knowledge for Life. Today we're diving into part 2, a topic that affects all of us, whether we realize it or not, the Western mentality and how to recognize it in our lives. Before we begin, remember to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos on health, wellness, and personal development. While we often use terms like sociopath casually, today we're looking at the specific traits and behaviors of the Western mind that make these individuals so dangerous in our personal and professional lives. One of the most unsettling aspects of the Western mentality is their contradictory nature. They often appear, despite harboring deeply irrational beliefs, they can seem completely sane and logical. Their charisma isn't accidental, it's a tool for manipulation, while hiding what's essentially an internal landscape of fear and paranoia. This is what makes them so difficult to identify at first glance. Their insanity remains hidden until you've already been drawn into their web. The Western mentality has a fundamentally different way of seeing other people. They view relationships as transactions, not connections. People are either resources to exploit or obstacles to remove. They possess a profound fear of others, viewing everyone as potential enemies, especially non-white, non-Judeo-Christian, and those who do not fall under the capitalist system that they set up to rule over the masses. Their sense of entitlement, privilege, and self-righteousness justifies, in their minds, harmful and destructive actions towards non-whites. Interestingly, the Western mentality isn't random in who they target. They're particularly drawn to creative and innovative individuals, inventors, artists, and forward thinkers, activists and changemakers working to improve society, and empathetic people who naturally want to help others. Why? Because creativity, innovation, and positive change represent threats to their control. The light in others reminds them of the darkness within themselves, and their toolkit of manipulation includes flattery and love bombing to create false intimacy, gaslighting to make you doubt your perception, blaming and shaming to control through guilt, lying without remorse or hesitation, and threats, both subtle and overt. The Western mentality follows recognizable patterns. They react negatively to genuine efforts to help others while supporting destructive activities masked as helpful. They feel threatened by efforts to make others stronger or more knowledgeable. Their paranoia leads them to see threats in innocent groups, often targeting immigrants, non-Judeo-Christian religions, people of color, and even poor whites or the few whites who do not conform to their supremacist agenda. Unable to self-criticize, they project their flaws onto others to protect their fragile psyche. At the core of the Western mentality is a lack of guilt for harm caused to others. They take no responsibility and take no effort to repair the damage they cause. They have an absence of empathy for others' feelings and act impulsively without considering consequences. When it comes to rule breaking, they act without moral constraint. This is how they have come to rule over the darker peoples of the world, not through ingenuity, inventiveness, or originality, but through lying, thievery, and murder.
There are many ways that European colonialism changed the world, but the most obvious is the huge number of lives that were lost in the name of growth and expansion. People in the West wanted to find resources, make money, save the uncivilized, and gain prestige. But in the end, it caused death, hardship, and violence for those who got it. Many of the lessons that should have been learned from colonialism seem to still not have been learned. The effects of colonialism can still be felt today, from murder to resource exploitation to loss of cultural identity. Remember that these are just a few of the worst things that happened during European empire.
So how do you protect yourself from the predatory nature of the Western mind? Recognizing these patterns is the first step to protection. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad states that history is above all our studies, is the most attractive and best qualified to reward our research. Quoting George Santayana, a Spanish-born American philosopher, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. White scholars have wondered why is it that the history of the white race is written in so much blood. What you see taking place in the world with Western powers backing the genocide in Gaza, ignoring the world's worst humanitarian crisis taking place in Sudan, and fomenting the assassination attempts on Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traore is not new.
Europeans have always stolen everything. They've stolen land, of course, but that was just the opening act. Europeans have stolen everything: material, labor, lifeways, language, even the ability to imagine a future outside of their theft. They stole Turtle Island with treaties they never honored, stole Africa with borders they never lived in, stole Australia by calling it empty, stole Palestine by funding a settler state, and each time they renamed the theft as discovery. They didn't just take territory, they fabricated sovereignty out of violence. They built nations on unmarked graves, then built museums to frame it as progress. Chattel slavery wasn't just forced work. It was the systemic extraction of time, body, memory, and reproductive life. The transatlantic slave trade turned people into credit, generations into capital, and when formal slavery ended, they simply renamed it: indenture, plantation debt, prison labor, minimum wage. They don't pay, they extract. Every developed European economy sits atop the plunder of others. Belgium's wealth equals Congo's mutilated children. Britain's empire equals Bengal's famines, India's looted GDP. France's monuments equal Haitian reparation payments. Spain's gold equals indigenous blood across Abya Yala. They didn't build wealth, they looted it. Then they called it industrialization. They took African deities and renamed them demons, took Arab numbers and called them Western math, took Eastern philosophy and sold it as mindfulness, took black music and charted it with white faces. They turned Yoruba into voodoo, turned indigenous prophecy into apocalypse fiction, took the drum, the braid, the spice, the chant, then banned it, then sold it back through Apple commercials and Coachella fashion lines. Europeans don't create, they curate what they've already stolen. Residential schools, forced adoptions, sterilization clinics, boarding schools, welfare raids. They stole native children, African children, Maori children, Aboriginal children, then documented it in church archives, not courts. And when colonized women resisted, they sterilized them.
Don't ignore the obvious patterns that are consistent in the history of the Western world. There is a gulf between what they say and what they do. They intend to make you believe that they have good intentions towards you, but the truth is, they wish to dominate over black, brown, red, and yellow peoples of the earth. Notice how they treat people they perceive as beneath them. Notice how they dehumanize them by labeling them savages, terrorists, and evil. Pay attention to how they handle criticism. Do they learn and correct their actions, or seek to attack the bearer of truth through false propaganda designed to ruin their reputation, making them a pariah, and if all else fails, seeking their assassination? Understanding the Western mentality isn't about hate or becoming paranoid ourselves. It's about developing healthy boundaries and protecting our well-being. The following quote is an excerpt from an hour-long message delivered by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as part 39 of his 58-week lecture series, The Time and What Must Be Done, that aired on October 5th, 2013.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that one of the things that must be done in this time is that we must be separated from our former slave masters and their children, because time will prove that they are going to become more and more disagreeable to live with in peace. Unfortunately, race relations will continue to get worse because the government just cannot provide enough food, clothing, shelter, and jobs or justice for us. And as we sit around waiting for somebody else to do this for us and demanding what we feel are our basic rights as so-called citizens, We are making our former slave masters and their children more angry with us, and thus they are becoming more disagreeable to live with in peace. And that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we must be separated if we don't want to continue to suffer great loss.
This illustrates that finding a way to establish peace often necessitates separation and self-identity. The realities of historical and ongoing conflicts indicate a clear need for self-governance and independence for those seeking peace. Thanks for watching today's video on understanding the Western mentality. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from this information. Drop your thoughts or experiences in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more content on health, wellness, and personal development. Visit our website at www.know4life.net and sign up to receive our newsletter. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Peace and blessings.